Welcome to the Onion Cup 3. This is our first match of the tournament. The Bold Blacks League Quarterfinal 3. Our participants today are Drought Ender and Vinnie. We've wasted enough time trying to get the intro right, so now we're gonna get into it! And we get Tile Lands as the random selection. Pretty good to start off with, not everyone's ideal pick. Drought Ender and Vinnie are both ready, so let the round begin! This is
Drought Ender opening up with the spice spray immediately, probably attempting to steal, but never mind.
Kinda sad that I can't hear game sound.
Why can't you? You should be able to.
I can't hear game sound, even though I've got the stream volume max.
I'm streaming the... whatever, I'll fix that during voting. Drought Ender going in for the steal.
This is one of his favorite moves to use on this specific layout of Tile Lands. We saw it in the June show match. This is exactly what he did.
Yeah, I saw it firsthand in the June show match, partially because I was one of the contestants on the June show match. Anyways,
it looks like Vinnie is struggling to handle this, which makes sense given that this is a completely new player facing off against the Onion Cup 2's gold medalist, which we probably should have disclosed earlier.
Not only has Drought managed to steal the blue marble, he's also managed to steal a couple of pellets from Vinnie's base, which I think is pretty funny.
Well, I think this ended about in the way we expected it to. First round of the first player against the highest rated player we've got, except SVU, in terms of ELO. Ender 1, Vinnie 0! Anyway, Battlefield has won the vote. We now await our participants to ready up. If they are ready. And they are! Let the round begin!
So what extreme strategies Drought Ender going to come up with on this map? Probably just something like Spellful.
Yeah. Not a very extreme kind of map. I think it's like the least extreme map.
Dim Labyrinth begs to differ.
I don't know. Red Bug's pretty extreme, given that no other map has them.
Yeah, they're pretty rad.
Yeah. What's rad to me is that Vinnie is already out Pikmining Ender. Oh wait, not anymore. For his first Pikmin tournament, Vinnie's doing pretty well, I have to say. Thing is, how long is that gonna last? How long is it gonna take before I eat my words? If I do, maybe I'll eat those words instead, if Vinnie manages to actually pull this off. I just talk about eating words, it's making me hungry, even though I ate like a few minutes ago. Withering Blowhog in Vinnie's base proved quite the hindrance, but now Vinnie has something Ender doesn't, and that's 2 extra spicy sprays. Now spicies are nowhere near as important as bitters, but they can still decide games in the right situations, with people who know how to use them.
Unfortunately, one of those people is Drought Ender. having more specifiers doesn't necessarily guarantee an advantage if your opponent knows how to use them.
Although, in a situation like this could be good for Vinnie. Unless Vinnie wastes the one spray he still has over Ender. This could be really good for him. It looks like Ender has retreated from the battle, giving Vinnie more control here. More control than he already has with the proximity advantage. Although despite that, the marble is getting away. I think Vinnie will be able to stop it in time, but then Ender's probably going to have time to come back for it. Or not. If Vinnie is fast enough, he could manage to bring it in.
Or Ender is on third and fourth marble.
Oh dear.
He's going for fun.
Vinnie manages to bring it in, but it looks like this may be already over. 2 marbles at the same time. Ender 2, Vinnie 0. Hostile territory has been selected. Vinnie and Ender are both ready, so let the round begin.
Hostile territory, completely different game mode from literally everything else in the Pikmin franchise. That includes Stone Pikmin.
Not only are there numerous bomb rocks, but there are also dirigibugs who prove to be an infinite source of them even when the ones around already exhaust them. And here, I believe we just saw Ender using SBU's signature Bomb Rock Kamikaze attack. So called because you pick up a bomb rock and you run into the enemy squad with it, blowing them up and yourself in the process. It does self-damage, but it's completely unavoidable without you forcing a bitter. The only other way to avoid it is to see it coming, which Vinnie just did. You could hope to save some of your Pikmin by throwing them away, but then you might end up throwing them off the map. It seems Ender is going hard with his tactic after seeing how much it benefited SBU in the Onion Cup 2.
Honestly, probably the best strategy to avoid the kamikaze attack is to leave Pikmin spread out. But on this map, that is not really an option. So the next best thing is to probably leave Pikmin buried next to your onion.
Yeah, that's what we've seen people do before. Seems Vinnie is now doing what anyone in such a... Oh! Well, then. Ender 3, Vinnie 0!
And that's what we in the business call the snipe.
You know, I'm feeling like we should shake this up a bit. We're going Dim Labyrinth. Vinnie is ready. And Ender is ready. Let the round begin! Ender currently has 3 to Vinnie's 0 round wins. If Ender manages to win just one more round, it will trigger Taco's last stand rule. This means that Vinnie can choose whether or not he wants to keep going or just accept the loss. If Vinnie chooses to keep going, the number of wins required for both participants to win the match is increased to 5. It's called the last stand rule because it gives Vinnie the opportunity to make one last stand, trying to win all of those rounds to make it and win. So far, in the history of the server, that has never actually happened, but it came very close to happening at least twice. One very good example of this comes from the Cosmic Drive Cup 3, our most recent previous 1v1 tournament that we had between February and May of this year, in which SBU won 5-4 against Ender. Ender was the one who invoked the last stand rule, managing to even out the score 4-4 before SBU ultimately beat him.
When you go on the last stand rule, your hands really start to shake. It gets tense if you are in a match. Anyways, Bedbugs likes doing stuff, right?
Yeah. One thing that is common knowledge in Sprout House among the more seasoned players, but might be a good little thing for the new players to know, is one good strategy you can use. Well, good. It can be good. It depends really on your preferences and your situation. Is to let the bread bugs take your marble and just keep it. Because then, your opponent, if they want to steal your marble, has to hunt down all the bread bugs on the map and try and find out which one it is. Of course, the disadvantage of this is if that bread bug does happen to be killed, your marble is now in a very exposed spot. It'll be a lot harder to defend out in the open under your onion. So it's a bit of a gamble to take. You've got to gamble on your opponent either being too busy or too ignorant to search for all of the marbles. And even if they do, for them to be too unlucky to find them in time before you've won. But it seems Vinnie is actually in the lead here with 2 marbles to Ender 0. Ender rains the boulders, but they don't kill anyone. They're nothing compared to the rock storm of Pikmin 3.
Looks like Vinnie's uncovered some shearwigs that have taken a bit out of a couple of Pikmin.
Meanwhile, Ender is slowly bringing in marbles and has dropped in a volatile Weevil. He's trying to seal the deal by using his superior numbers and spicy spray to stop Vinnie from getting those marbles in. So far, it seems to be working. His forced bitter usage is on both sides, though.
The thing is, the bread bug interferes, and he's coming.
Yes, the bread bug has interfered. And this interference has allowed Vinnie to bring in marble number 3. If he can keep Ender distracted long enough, he can pull the win here.
However, Ender has the numbers advantage, as well as Vinnie having to play.
But the thing is, Ender's numbers are scattered all over the map. Then again, so are Vinnie's. It's 3-3. 1 marble remains. Who will get to it first? It looks like Ender already did. He's been playing the long game and it's finally paid off.
Anyways,
so close, yet so far. Ender 4, Vinnie 0. Vinnie goes for the last stand. That's the spirit. Broulyard is the universally most hated map here in Sprout House, for some very good reasons that I'm too lazy to explain.
Okay, here's the thing about these 2 maps. 1, Warpath. It's Warpath. The match will end within 30 seconds. I'll skip Brawlyard for now. Carpet Plane?
Yeah, Warpath is basically an instant win for Ender here.
I'm voting Brawlyard because if I had to choose between Carpet Plane and Brawlyard, I'm picking Brawlyard because I hate Carpet Plane. It's basically distant spring.
Carpet Plane wins the vote.
No.
Ender and Vinnie are both ready. Let the round begin.
Honestly, Carpet Plane is a C tier map. I don't like it. But then again, also it's Brawlyard.
It looks like Vinnie only managed to match one of the pellets, while Ender matched 3. Still has 1 to go as well. Ender's having some early bulborb trouble. That seems to have thinned out his numbers a little bit, allowing Vinnie to catch up. Well, so much for that now. Vinnie trying to get that perfect pellet. Didn't really work out. But doesn't have time to think about things like that.
Puffy Blowhog alert. It's gonna pop your picture. Don't take that.
The Blowhog seems to be steering clear of Vinnie, but if he gets too close, that's gonna change. That's another thing about Carpet Plane. It has falling boulders. Unfortunately, or, well, fortunately in Vinnie's case, they are not very accurate.
You know, the scariest things about falling boulders is when there are 2 of them in one spot and they kind of collide each other in midair and they go separate. Really unpredictable.
It's like they're playing pool in the air, but with lethal boulders.
What was this spot on top of that ramp thing? That looks cursed.
What has been noticed by people in Drought House is that Pikmin don't seem to be hurt by falling boulders if they're currently digging, because the marble acts as a shield. There's a bit of a debate as to whether this is caused by the marble physically blocking it, or if it's because the Pikmin are in some sort of state that makes them immune to it.
I guess I could probably by using different buttons.
First marble of the round comes in for Ender. Vinnie's having a bit of trouble catching up because of a combination of Shearwigs and the Puffy Blowhog. The Blowhog can't really do any damage on its own, but what it is good at is amplifying the damage caused by other enemies. We're causing you to find it much more difficult to deal with them. It scatters around your Pikmin, dispersing them, making them easier to pick off.
It's like Drought is going for steal. And leaves.
Forced a bitter to deny it. But while Vinnie is staying here trying to deter a steal,
it was a stall.
Ender had plans of his own. Ender has won the match! With the end of this first match of the tournament, we now see Ender going to the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Vinnie will be going to the Dwarf League, the lower league of the tournament, a loser's bracket. Who they will face, both of them, in their new matches, is yet to be determined. But we'll know soon enough. Until then, stay tuned!